One of our great partners, no matter who we look to, and we have great partners in the world, but we have none stronger and nobody like the gentleman that's right before me. He's your greatest representative.
So you are standing at the visitor center, and we're overlooking in a southeast direction into the hidden marina, and those are the first 3 modules we're building of phase 1 of the line. We're in the piling works that are directly behind me. My name is Giles Pendleton. I'm the COO of the line proponent.
From the moment Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman unveiled the line as the glittering centerpiece of Saudi Arabia's Neom megacity, the world reacted with equal parts awe and skepticism. 2 vast parallel skyscrapers, 1,600 feet high and stretching across the desert for more than 100 miles, housing 9 million people in a high-tech, car-free utopia. On paper, it looked like science fiction brought to life. But today, less than 3 years after construction crews began carving tracks into the sands of Saudi Arabia's northwest, the $500 billion project has hit a wall.
And then on top of that, there's all the daily, weekly, and monthly and yearly needs that a population, that size population, would need. Schools, clinics, recreational facilities, sporting facilities, commercial, retail. So everything a city of that scale has, the line will have. The line will just have it in closer proximity than any other city of that scale.
And the cracks in this futuristic dream are beginning to show not just in the desert, but on the kingdom's balance sheets, in its political optics, and in the increasingly sharp warnings from economists, engineers, and insiders. What began as the crown jewel of Vision 2030, a national strategy to wean Saudi Arabia off its oil addiction and rebrand it as a hub of innovation, has quickly become a cautionary tale of ambition colliding with reality. The costs have ballooned from an already staggering $500 billion estimate to more than $8 trillion if built to its original end state design. That figure is 25 times Saudi Arabia's annual budget. An internal audit report revealed not just accounting errors, but deliberate attempts to manipulate financial projections. In one case, the price of a boutique hiking hotel night was arbitrarily quadrupled to make its return on investment look rosier. The manipulation extended to a planned ski resort in the desert, where nightly rates were inflated nearly 4-fold to impress leadership. Consultants from McKinsey, who have made over $130 million a year advising Neom, deny involvement in the number fudging, but the optics are damning.
You talk about 15-minute cities globally. I mean, a lot of the cities are attempting to do that. We're a 5-minute city. We're a city that, like no other city on earth, within 5 minutes you can cover 400 meters, and in that time you can cover 80% of your weekly needs in the line will be met.
Behind the gleaming digital renderings, the financial scaffolding holding up the line is looking dangerously flimsy. The line itself has already been downsized. Once promised as a continuous 100-mile corridor, the initial build is now targeted at just 1.5 miles within the next decade. Recommendations to cut costs by lowering the skyscrapers from 1,600 to 1,000 feet were flatly rejected by bin Salman himself, who is said to be personally invested in the project's audacity. His insistence on scale over sustainability is straining even his advisors, many of whom privately acknowledge that the line's first phase may not be completed until well into the 2030s, if at all. For now, cranes, pile drivers, and a skeleton of roadways stand in the desert as a reminder of how slowly reality moves compared to glossy promotional videos. Financially, the timing could not be worse. Oil revenues, still the lifeblood of the Saudi economy, have faltered as crude prices hover around $70 a barrel, far below the $100 average the kingdom enjoyed in 2022. With deficits mounting, the government has had to reassess not just the line, but the entirety of Neom, which some analysts estimate could cost up to $1.5 trillion. Consultants have been tasked with conducting a sweeping strategic review of the project, ostensibly a normal step in a mega project of this scale, but in reality a desperate attempt to rein in expectations and salvage credibility. Job cuts across Neom are already underway. What was once touted as a new model for civilization itself is beginning to look like a bloated liability. Beyond finances, there are human and ethical costs that continue to haunt the project. In November 2024, Neom's CEO Nadmi Al-Nasser resigned, weeks after a documentary alleged that tens of thousands of foreign laborers had died during construction, an echo of the migrant worker controversies that dogged Qatar Al-Saar's World Cup. Saudi officials deny the numbers, but the reputational damage has been significant, especially as the kingdom courts global talent and investment. Meanwhile, heritage sites and tribal lands have been bulldozed in Neom's shadow, raising further questions about who this futuristic paradise is really for. The failures aren't confined to the line. Sindala, a luxury coastal resort within Neom, hosted a $45 million launch party in October 2024 featuring Will Smith and Tom Brady, but 4 months later, its golf course and hotels remained unopened, a mirage of progress. The Red Sea ski resort, Trojana, has faced similar skepticism, a snow haven in one of the world's hottest regions at a time when climate scientists are sounding the alarm on water scarcity. Critics say these are vanity projects masquerading as infrastructure, designed more to dazzle investors and tourists than to meet the real needs of Saudis. What went wrong? Analysts point to what they call a yes-man culture inside Neom, consultants and executives eager to tell the crown prince what he wants to hear rather than what is feasible. Inflated projections, unrealistic deadlines, and the refusal to scale ambitions to market realities have created a bubble of unreality around the project. Even admirers of the line's boldness admit that execution has been reckless. "It's one of the boldest ideas I've seen that has actually gone into execution," said one business leader in Riyadh. But for it to succeed, it has to adjust to market realities and build trust. Trust, however, is in short supply. The disaster of the line isn't just about one city. It exposes a deeper vulnerability in Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. For all the rhetoric of diversification, the plan is still tethered to oil prices, and when those prices sag, so too does the kingdom's ability to fund its mega projects. Saudi Arabia wanted to leapfrog into the future with a sci-fi skyline in the desert. Instead, it risks becoming a case study in the dangers of hubris. And yet, the line may not disappear entirely. Even critics believe some version of Neom will continue, albeit smaller, slower, and less spectacular than promised. The 1.5-mile pilot may open by 2034, offering at least a taste of what could have been, but the dream of a 105-mile mirrored city housing millions is fading into the desert haze. The reality is less about revolutionizing urban life and more about a kingdom grappling with the limits of money, technology, and political will. The irony is sharp. The line was marketed as a symbol of sustainability, a car-free eco-utopia in the desert, but it has already consumed staggering financial, human, and environmental resources, and its sustainability is in question not just ecologically, but economically and politically. In its ambition to leap centuries ahead, Saudi Arabia may have built not the city of the future, but a monument to the very dangers of unchecked ambition.